Hey, welcome back, guys. This is Tyler again with Orion's Tactical. Thank you guys for watching. I've got a few Glocks sitting out here. These are all 4 Generation 4 Glocks. Some of them's just out here for size comparison, but the main one that we're going to focus on in today's video is going to be the Glock 22. It's a 40 caliber, and it's a Gen 4. All 4 of them are. All of these guns have been safety checked, but this is my carry gun. It's my Glock 19. This is the only one in this video that has ammunition, just because I didn't feel like unloading it just for the purpose of the video, because it's just going to be sitting off to the side. The main ones that I'm going to compare today are the 17, the 22, and the 26. But I will go ahead and show you guys empty chamber and mag on that one. Empty chamber and mag there. Empty chamber and mag there. Alright, so the Glock 22. It's a really popular gun. Here in the United States, this is going to be carried by about 70 to 80% of the law enforcement personnel. So if you're ever out and about and you come across a police officer, this is more than likely going to be the gun that's in his holster. I think some of them carry a 10mm, but most of them are the Glock 22, the 40 calibers. This gun holds a 15 round magazine, so it's a 15+1. And I've noticed these mags are a little different from the rest, and this is why I've got these guns out here. They're all Gen 4s, but this one I think is an older model. For one, there's metal exposed on the magazine, and I'll go ahead and show you compared to all the other magazines that I have. They're just plastic. They don't have that metal showing. So I don't know if that's just something that's unique to the Glock 22 or what's going on there, but there is metal. They're all stock Glock magazines except the one here in the Glock 17 has a Magpul P-Mag. Another one of the differences, down here at the very bottom, you'll notice it says, if I can get it to focus in, it says patent pending on all of my Gen 4s. By the way, the 22 here, this is not my gun. This is a loaner gun. So the 26, the 17, and the 19, these are all 9mm, Generation 4s, every one of them. This is the full size, the 19 is the compact, and then the 26 is the subcompact or the baby Glock. It's one of the smallest ones that they have. You can see there the big difference. But this is the smallest one in a double stack that you can get. But this one just says patent pending, and this one says US Pat, and it's got the number. So that's another difference. They both say made in Austria, so that's the same. Up here, you'll notice it says MBS, and what that stands for is multiple back straps. So when you get this gun, you've got 4 different back straps that'll come with it in the box. You'll have a medium and a large, and then a medium and a large with a beaver tail that sticks off. So you can size it to fit your hand. If the original doesn't feel quite right, or if you have bigger hands, you can put those different back straps on and help make it fit your hand better. So that's what the MBS stands for. And on all of mine, that MBS was not there. As you can see, it's just a clear box. It doesn't have that. So that's another difference. And then the main one that I wanted to talk about, you can see the slide, how the texture of it is. It's kind of like cast iron. It actually feels different. It looks different. It doesn't really feel thicker, but in a way it kind of does. If you compare it to my other Glocks, you can tell that the finish is slightly different. So you can see there, all of mine are quite a bit smoother. They're not as rough textured. So I'm thinking that it's probably just an older model, Generation 4. This may have been like one of the first ones that came out. Mine, they're all fairly new within the past year or two. So that may just be a difference in the years. But that's pretty much what I wanted to compare with them. Also, there's a little notch right here you can see, which is there on mine, but is not there on this one. And that's to help keep your back strap in place. So all my other ones have that, but Glock 22 did not. The two main ones that I wanted to bring out were the Glock 17 and of course the 22. The 22 is what the video is about. But these two guns are identical in size. The length, the thickness, the frames, they're identical. Everything about them is identical, except you can see the barrel is the only difference. So when it comes to size, exact same size, Glock 17. As you can see, this one's been modified a little bit, but they are the exact same size. The only difference is the calibers. So if any of you guys are familiar with the Glock 17, which that one was the one that started Glocks, that was the first Glock they came out with, so it's really popular. So if you guys are familiar with the 17, the 22 is basically the exact same gun. It's just calibered in 40 caliber instead of 9mm. So I'll go ahead and break this gun down. And what you want to do when you break a Glock down, it involves pulling the trigger. So you always want to make sure it's clear, make sure there is nothing in there, and then point it in a safe direction, break your trigger. Then what you're going to want to do is just wrap your hand over the top like this and just pull back just slightly. When you pull back, you want to reach and grab these tabs. There's one on both sides. It's one solid piece, but you want to bring them down on each side, and then you can release your slide and it'll just come straight off. So that'll leave you with your lower or your frame and your slide or your upper. This one's completely stock. The only thing that's been modified to this is some of the internals have been polished. The trigger bar, the striker, the firing pin safety, and the slide rails have been polished. And that's pretty much just all the moving parts. So over time, as the gun cycles, those parts will wear down. So I go ahead and polish all that stuff up, and it just smooths everything out. Gives you a nice trigger. Gen 4s have a dual recoil spring, so you just pop that straight out, and then you can take your barrel and it'll pop straight out. Go ahead and give you a look down inside. Nice feed ramp, nice crown. and there's a stamp on the top. You can see it says 40, and then there's a polygon shape, and that just stands for the polygonal or polygonal rifling that's in the barrel. Then there's a Glock stamp, an AT, which I think stands for Austria, and then of course you got your serial number. So that's your basic field strip of it. Really simple, easy to do. You can take these things down, put them back together in just a few seconds. As far as the safeties, there is no external safety. So the safeties, there's 3 of them. The first one is going to be the little pad on the inside of your trigger there. You can't really see it now, but there's a little piece that sticks out in the very center, and you have to pull that in order to it'll bypass and let your trigger pull. The second one is this little round shape here. That's your firing pin safety, and you can see when I push on it, it's spring loaded. So as you're pulling your trigger back, this part that sticks up on your trigger bar comes in contact with that, pushes it down. So your trigger bar moves back, pushes that down. And then your third one is this little claw here that's connected to your striker, and it sits on the back part of your trigger bar here, which is called the cruciform. So as you're pulling your bar, this bypasses the firing pin safety. You pull it back even further, and your trigger bar will come in contact with your connector, and it forces the back of this cruciform down, which you just seen there. See how it it's up high now? I'll go ahead and pull it back, and you'll see that it drops down. See if I can get it here to where you guys can see it. See how it drops down? When that drops down, it releases this free, and it allows your striker to go forward and hit the primer. So that's how the safeties go. I didn't want to go too in depth with it. I don't want to make this video too long, but here's a look at the inside. These are your frame rails here. Here's your locking block. This little piece here is actually your takedown lever. So you can see it's one solid piece. That's what locks your gun or your slide on your frame. Then you got your trigger shoe, which is attached to the bar. The bar comes all the way back, and down the side you have your connector and your trigger housing. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to do an in-depth thing about it. If you guys want a detailed field strip, I have a video on the channel of the Glock 26. It's the exact same. Everything's the same, taking this one apart as it is that one, so you can refer to that video. And it shows the full strip of the frame, the slide, just about everything you'd want. So to put this back together, just get the back of your frame, or the back of your slide, sorry, and line it up with your frame rails. You just slide it right on. Make sure you keep it flat, and just pull it all the way back, and it locks on. So that just shows you how simple it is. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the trigger now. The Glock trigger, it's got as you can see here, it's got a little bit of play in it. So when you make your gun hot, you got a round in the chamber. Oh, there's that safety. You can see there how it kind of bypasses. But you got a round in the chamber, so you pull back and you'll hit a wall. Once you hit that wall, you know that your shot's getting ready to break. So you just keep squeezing, just barely, straight and back to the rear, and your shot will break. Then you'll fire around, the gun will cycle, and you want to keep your trigger back to the rear. Then what happens next is you'll release it a little bit, and you'll hit that reset. So at this point, if you needed a follow-up shot, you could break another one, come back to your reset. So pretty much it takes out all this waste movement right here, which is what's called slapping the trigger. So instead of pulling the trigger, breaking your shot, and then taking your finger completely off, breaking your next shot, breaking your next shot, you can eliminate all that by just learning how to use this trigger. You really need to figure out how the trigger works, and you can be really proficient with it. You can get good surgical shots. That predictable wall, the break, then your reset. So all the movement that you really have in your trigger is that right there. It's really loud, so you can hear it and you can feel it. Also with your reset, it not only has a spring that pushes your finger forward so you can feel it, but you hear it as well. So you really just got to learn the trigger. Any of you guys that haven't shot Glocks, you'll just have to learn it and figure out exactly how it works, how to use the reset to your advantage, how to use the predictable wall to your advantage, and you can really get some nice surgical shots. But anyways, guys, I didn't want to make this video too long, but yeah, if any of you guys know any more about that, the different texture and the MBS, the different markings, the mag, and the little spot on the back right here that I showed you. If y'all know why that's different on this Glock 22, leave me a comment, let me know what's up with that. Like I said, these are all Gen 4s, but this one here is just a little bit different from what I'm used to. I'm thinking it's maybe just this one's a little older, so let me know what you guys think. Hopefully I've covered everything, pretty much the basics. It's got your standard sights on it. That's one thing that I would change if you guys are planning on getting a Glock. These sights are plastic, so they will break on you if you drop them, or if you need it to rack off for a one-hand manipulation. They could break a lot easier than a good set of steel sights, which is what I put on all of my Glocks. These are Zev Technologies. It's a fiber optic front and a blacked out rear. Really nice sights. I've got that on all of my Glocks, the same set of sights. You can see there the red fiber optic front, and then the Glock 17 has a green, and on my Glock 19 I've got red. But they're all metal, so they'll stand up, and they've got this hook on them so you can really grab a hold of your holster, your belt, your pants, back of your shoe, whatever you need to. So if you have just one hand in the fight, you'll always be able to manipulate your firearm. So there's nothing wrong with these factory sights. They kind of got like a field goal type rear and then just a single dot front. You can shoot accurately with them. They are good sights, but they're just made of plastic. So if Glock would just make metal sights, that'd be really good. Be a great change for them, because these plastic ones, they're just not as tough. But yeah, guys, that's it. Like I said, I hope I covered everything for you, at least the basics. If there's anything you guys are curious about, please feel free to ask me. And I'll give you guys another look at it here before we close this video. Generation 4 Glock 22. Really popular in police here in the United States and all over the world. A lot of law enforcement agencies use this. Same size as Glock 17, full size. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, be sure and hit that like button for me. It really helps out. Also, leave me any comments or questions. If you're new here, go subscribe to the channel. Got a lot of good stuff coming. The next video is going to be a rifle review, so hope you guys stay tuned. Keep your eyes open for that. I've been meaning to get around to that sooner. Just haven't done it yet, but it will be the next one. After I get that rifle review done, I'm gonna get away from all the reviews and start doing some live fire stuff. Maybe do some quick tips, different stuff like that. Maybe go through some malfunction clearances, things of that nature. But anyways, guys, this is Tyler with Orion's Tactical. I hope you guys liked the video. If you're new, go subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.